Evolve your game and get a $100 bonus. Sign up now at TVG.com.
It is becoming quite the race. I mean, you could basically say this is a Breeders' Cup mile race because the competition is so tough. Breeders' Cup win and you're in race. Did you know, Paulie, I got a little fun fact for you here, that there was only been one horse to win both the Shoemaker mile and the Breeders' Cup mile. Can you name that horse?
Wow, that's a good question. Go ahead.
Silic.
Ooh, okay, good question.
Yeah,
I like it right off the bat. Stumping me already.
I
Stumping
know. A couple horses ran second in the Shoemaker mile and then won the Breeders' Cup mile. Singletary, I think, was one of them. But not too many doing the double. So we'll see if we can do it now. We've got kind of a short field, I would say. 7 horses here, led by the one horse, which we'll roll right into, obviously, your 9-5 favorite, Joe Talamo aboard. Speed, speed, speed.
Well, here's a horse that last year at one time you could have probably put in the same group as Wise Dan, maybe earlier in the year. And his comeback race in 2014 was phenomenal. And I think a lot of people will point towards his early speed, and he has a ton of early speed. He can go very fast on the front end, and he has the tendency to maintain that. And he was really impressive last time. Joe Talamo knows him. I know in the press releases he was saying that he can rate, but I feel he's a different horse when he rates. I think he's better when he just sort of lets him go, and he's going to have the rail draw. I would think he's going to go from the get-go. We're going to show the American backtrack here, Britt, and he was just under a canter. It really showed his class.
Handwritten the whole way. You obviously see another horse, Silenzio, was also in that race. 4-horse field. I know he won by about 5 lengths in that race, and it was very easy, but he got an easy lead. He set the pace himself, and I don't know if it's going to come up the same exact way in this race.
Well, that's going to be the key now. Pulpits Express is in this spot. Phil D'Amato actually came out and said, that horse is no factor to us, and I hope he doesn't impede us. So he's very vocal. Gary and Cecil Barber have 2 horses in this race. They're an uncoupled entry, Britt. We were talking about this off air.
Right.
Will Pulpits Express be able to put pressure on, obviously? I don't think so. I think obviously he's a grade 1 animal. I think he's just going to go to the front. If they want to go fast, Pulpits Express, he might get cooked, but I don't know if that's going to hurt, obviously, or not. It remains to be seen.
All right, well, you mentioned the Barbers have 2 horses in this race, so Jack Milton would be the next one. Now, shipping in, just coming off of a win in the poker. Last time he was here, didn't run so well at Betfair Hollywood Park. What do you make of him in this race? Well,
he won a 1-turn mile last time, and he might be just a better 1-turn horse, but he's got some kick. You know, I know this is a small field of 7, and to me, besides Pulpits Express, I think the other 6 got a shot, and Jack Milton's one of them. It seems like the horses that have shipped in from anywhere have been pretty darn good. So whenever Mr. Pletcher or Mr. Mott was another couple horses, or these kind of guys ship horses in, they got to look. So I would think Jack Milton would be okay. Rabbit in there, he'll be laying back.
Exactly. It might set up for closers, so Jack Milton is somebody that I like in this race. Now going on the 3, Tom's Tribute, came off a really, really impressive win in the Thunder, I believe it was a Thunder Road Stakes. Was it a soft field, or is he just peaking at the right time as a 4-year-old?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, he stopped the clock when he tied Wise Dan's record. Now, I know the turf course might have been playing a little fast that day, in 1:31.4, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm with you on a horse that's on the rise a tiny bit. He's not proven yet at this grade 1 level, but he might get some pace to run into. He's another horse that's got to turn a foot. I don't know if he's going to bounce out of that race, but he's getting better.
Right. Okay, now winning prize, Argentinian. I told you about this off air earlier. This is the horse that I really like here because I think obviously it's going to go to the front. Pulpit Express is going to go to the front. This horse doesn't have an issue tracking a little bit.
No, I think you're 100% right. I think this is the horse that's going to get a really good trip in here. You're right. Obviously going to the front, Pulpit Express, maybe chasing, winning prize, and who's a hotter rider or a better rider on a big day on the turf course than Corey Nakatani? The only worry with winning prize is that gap between works between May 10th and May 24th. This horse was a scratch out of a race and now going to enter into a tougher spot. Is he ready? Hall of Famer, I would think Neil Drysdale will have this horse right there. I'm probably with you, and maybe your slight second choice. Him and obviously will be battling for favoritism.
Of course, of course. Summer Front, Christophe Clement, shipping in. You don't see him do this too often. Now, this is a very interesting horse that you might get at a good price because obviously this horse, not obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't call him that horse.
I know, right? I know. I've been doing it all day too.
But this horse has beat winning prize, who I like a little bit. I believe it, the Fort Marcy Stakes right here, coming off of a second by only a length I think he's shipping in for a reason.
You're right. I mean, listen, Christophe, come on. I mean, he's going great guns. Obviously, Toneless won the Belmont. He had a couple winners after that day. He is going through, you know, a really good streak right now. And you know what, Britney? He doesn't ship a ton of horses. He shipped this horse out here for the citation, lost to Silenzio by a nose. Here's the different one, Summer Front, where I think this horse has got a giant shot. 5 for 6 at the distance. Loves the mile. All the rest of the races have been a mile and eighth. And like you told me earlier, if Christophe is shipping this horse, he means business. This horse has got a big shot.
Exactly. Major prep for the BC Mile.
Yes.
You know, it's going to be at Santa Anita. What better way to prep than actually at the track? Now, Pulpus Express, which you briefly talked about, a little overclassed in my opinion, but maybe potentially put there to challenge, obviously.
Yes, 100%. Listen, we talked about this whole thing leading up to the Belmont. How were going to attack California Chrome? And I said this a million times. Back in the old days, they used to send rabbits like this out in the front end. So what is Mr. Barber, Gary and Cecil Barber doing? They're sending one of their horses out there to keep obviously company for their other horse, Jack Milton. Bottom line, I just don't think Pulpus Express, he's a nice horse, but he can't win this race.
Finally, we wrap it up with number 7, Silenzio, who we saw in the American ran a third, but beaten 5 lengths by your favorite here, obviously.
Silencio's is interesting to me because I think Gary Mandela had him peaked at the right time, Britney, because he ran such a great race in the Breeders' Cup Mile. He was right behind Wise Dan and Zaw Approval, and he beat, obviously. Now, obviously might have been tailing off towards the end of this year. Silenzio, you know, he got beat pretty bad by the one last time, the Diamato runner, but I think he might turn it around. He might bounce a little bit. He's the horse I don't know what to do with. Which race are we going to fire? He's a biggish type horse. He does love the mile distance. He's on the outside for me, but he's still very talented.
Okay, real quick, do you have a pick?
Wow. I'm going to go with Winning Prize. I think, obviously, I don't know if he's come back stronger, because I said this last year. He sort of fooled me a little bit. When he won his first race last year, I thought, wow, this is a horse that might be able to compete with Wise Dan, and then he started to tail off. Now, Phil Diamato did say his better races were second and third off the layoff last year, and they are. I do get it. But I'm with you. I think Winning Prize is a horse that is moving forward and is going to be a horse to be reckoned with down the line.
Well, now it's going to look like I'm just copying it because I like Winning Prize too. Well, that is a look at your spotlight race at Santa Anita, Grade 1 Shoemaker Mile. Now, we've got a nice little promotion for you guys on Santa Anita. I need an iPad. I mean, I know I need an iPad because I use it all the time. I need an iPad giveaway. We're giving away 2 iPad minis each Saturday and Sunday until June 29th. Earn an entry for each race at Santa Anita. You bet $5 or more in exactas. Details at tvg.com. Don't miss out on that because I know how much I love my iPad. Now let's get back to Rich for more.